Hello and welcome to another episode of Higher or Lower, the show brought to you by oddschecker, Sporty Index and SpreadX, looking ahead at the Premier League season. This is a player goals special where we look at the spread betting markets and how many goals certain players will score in the Premier League this season. I'm your host, George Elek. Delighted to be joined by Dan Worth, and Jack Wright.
Hello.
Hey, how are you doing?
Really good. You?
Yeah, I'm good. I like player goal markets like this. I think it's a really fun way to enjoy a whole season, and especially for someone like myself, and someone like yourself, where we don't support any Premier League teams. It's a really good way to have a strong interest, both financial, and this sounds like a read, but it's not, and emotional in the Premier League season.
Yeah, I mean, I'd much rather have a stance on one of these markets than
Reading be in the Premier League.
No, but than to be an FPL player and be backing players here and there because they're in my team. No, I'd much rather have goals, spread bet, and yeah, as you say, financial, emotional, and probably some other sort of feeling as well. But it's not on the tip of my tongue. So
cool, Jack.
Yeah, I love it as well.
Good. Okay. You all right?
Yeah, I did a good job there.
That stag do coming back to.
Oh no, what's stag do?
Yeah,
Weeks ago.
Can't even remember it.
Yeah, that was a couple of weeks ago when we recorded the other one.
Sorry, yeah, we're all wearing the same clothes. Cole Palmer is a good player. He just scored 2 sensational goals in the Club World Cup final against Paris Saint-Germain. He went a bit cold, and not in the good way. Second half of last season.
I thought about the finish. The finish was
cold.
So cool.
Yeah, I mean, his ability to basically do nothing whilst doing everything is kind of crazy to me. And I'm looking forward to seeing him doing it in an England shirt for the next few years. Anyway, his goal line here is 14 to sell, 15.5 to buy. Now, for those who don't or aren't privy to how spread betting works, that means if you're going to buy his goals, you're buying at 15.5. So for every goal over 15 that he scored, you'd win half a point, or then a point after that. So if you would score 17, for example, you'd win 1.5 times your stake, and so on and so forth. You'd lose that amount if you scored under. Make sure if you aren't privy to how spread betting works, do check it out before you get involved in these markets. So 14 to sell, 15.5 to buy. Should we get cracking?
I think we should.
Okay. 3, 2, 1.
Yes, go on, Cole. Yeah. Cole the goal.
It just feels to me like he's the one listed where he has a really good goal scoring record. His primary function of his job in the team is to score goals. He had a relatively quiet season last season by his standards and still hit this mark. Like we've seen Mo Salah have massive seasons and score like well into the 20s. It feels like it's probably a matter of time until Cole Palmer does that. And he's not being priced up to improve, and I'm really happy to take that on. Jack?
Same. 22 goals, 9 penalties in his first season with Chelsea, and 15 goals, 4 penalties with 4 penalties last season. But his expected goals actually was 17.28, so it's a little bit of a surprise that he actually underperformed that. So you would suggest that he probably wouldn't underperform it this season. The midpoint last season actually was 15, so it's been kept pretty much exactly the same. And I'm happy to go in again because I can't see him going underneath that. I think there's only upside with him. Possibly how far upside it goes is how many penalties Chelsea win by the looks of those stats that I then went through there. And as I mentioned in the points show, watch that. I'm sure you can find that online. I think Maresca's identified him as he's definitely got to be the man. Don't mess him around as far as his position is concerned. Get him there, either creating or scoring, and say his finishing ability is exceptional, as he showed, as you then mentioned in that Club World Cup final. So solid as well. Another one, if you're looking to take on players to score goals, you want them to be playing regularly, kind of keep clear of injuries and suspensions, and Palmer's one of those players. Played 37 games last season, 36 starts. You can't ask for much more than that. So yeah, I like this one. Nice solid start, going higher.
Lovely. Dan?
Yeah, I agree with both of you, to be honest. I think Cole Palmer is one of, if not the best players in the world right now, and I don't see any reason why this season would be any different. In fact, I think he'll get even better and better. And one thing to add from what you guys said, and we only saw it very briefly at the Club World Cup, but him and João Pedro look like they're going to have a great partnership with Cole Palmer's little dummy. Like he's going to send João Pedro through. Nope. And he's going to score lots of goals because he's so cool and his finishing ability is unreal.
Lovely.
I like it.
Yes, lovely. Cole Palmer. Next up, Mo Salah, top goal scoring charts in the Championship last season with 29, being factored in for a big drop off. 18.5 to sell, 20 to buy. 3, 2, 1.
Same as last year.
Was it?
Oh yeah, I've got this written down actually. What you said last year, George.
Oh no.
Salah's getting a bit old. He looks like he might be past it.
Is that a quote?
That's a paraphrase.
If it's not a quote, I'll sue you.
Eek.
Oh, I thought we were friends.
Yeah, we are, but like.
Yeah, but when there's money on the line.
Salah's getting a bit old. He's looking, he might be part. No, I mean this is a 29 last season for a team that won the league, and he was a stand-up player, obviously. But they've signed Wirtz, who is going to score a lot of goals, I'd have thought, next season. So, like, some of the goal scoring load taken off him. They're signing
Ekatike.
who-
Possibly Isaac.
I don't understand.
I'd be surprised. Be mad if they do.
He's also, you've got to factor him in for a few goals. Like, I think Mo Salah can have a good season next season and score high teens or whatever, but there's also a chance that, and eventually it's going to happen, where his output starts to dip, and I'm willing to double down on on last season and go lower than 18.5. I mean, I didn't know I'd done that last season, so I'm a bit sad. Dan, why is he going to score loads again?
We all make mistakes. Well, to be fair, I've actually kind of come at this from the other angle, and he's never failed to score 18 Premier League goals in a full season, and I just don't know why this season would be the one. Yeah, he is one season older, that's for sure, and they have brought in Wirtz.
You cannot argue against that.
No, you really can't. But I just think that the other side of it is so much more appealing. Like, he's scored 30, he scored 29 in the one just gone. That's 10 goals top. That'd be lovely, wouldn't it? With a couple of quid buy on here. I see no reason why it would do worse than last season. So got to be on that side.
See no reason why it do worse than last season. So you think they'll score like 29 minimum?
Yeah, no, probably not.
Okay.
You do have to be careful how you phrase it.
Yeah,
Sign-offs.
Especially with this guy.
Yeah, he's sharp like that, yeah. So I can't see him doing any worse than last season, but I think... look, he is Mr. Dependable, he's Mr. Consistent. As you said, you've gone through there. 18 is his minimum return so far in his career at Liverpool. He's gone into the 20s regularly, 30, once 29 last season. At times last season, he was completely unplayable. And he had a real drop-off towards the end where he didn't score that many goals at all. Looked like he was going to go well into the 30s last season. I'll flip it as far as to say that, the Wirtz signing probably adds more to Salah than the fact that there will be a player of an even higher calibre that can assist. Yeah. I think so. Yeah, and I think this Liverpool lineup will be, again, attacking, as always. He will still be the focal point to go and score the goals. And my only one issue that hasn't quite been mentioned yet is AFCON coming up. So that will possibly be a little bit of a downside, but I still think, obviously he's done that. He's been at AFCON before.
Why did I make that point?
Yeah, I thought
How much did you miss? 5 games?
It's something round about it. I think last time when he got 18 was the AFCON, and he missed 6 games. I think
there
something
you
like
go.
That. But,
told you. I knew there was some reason why.
But he's obviously missed it in seasons gone by, and he's gone over that. That's the closest.
Yeah.
And look, if you're missing and getting 18, then it's a minimal loss. But I think the upside with the backup support that he's got, I think the upside far outweighs the downside with Mo Salah, who I think is in the best shape of his life. Like, he seems to be getting stronger and better as the years go by. I'd love to know his secret. I probably do know his secret. I'm just too lazy to follow it.
Erling Haaland next up, 23 to sell, 25 to buy. Relatively poor by his standards last season. Has still scored 23. Is it?
22.
22. So being factored in for a slight increase. Erling Haaland, 3, 2, 1. Dan.
Right, well, I do need to caveat this by saying the 3 seasons, the 2 seasons we've already done, I've been wrong on Erling Haaland both times.
Right, so you sold
so
start.
Just whilst you're listening to me, just know that I haven't got a track record here. I don't know what you did last season. I'd imagine you got it right.
No, I think
I think we
same thing that you were the outlier.
Yeah,
he was. Yeah.
So I sold in the first season because I was like, that's a lot of goals, and it was around this mark, and I thought, well, there's a high chance he doesn't play every single game in that season, and he maybe gets an injury that puts him out for 10. Then it's a really, really high line. I did the opposite. The season just gone because he didn't get injured at all in that first season, and then he got injured. I did only miss 8 games, was it 7 games? But still, just failed to have the same impact. Although obviously 22 goals is not.
Do you know his midpoint last year?
No, have you got it?
27.5 last year, the midpoint.
Wow, so it has come down. And for good reason, because he's not going to score as. I mean, if he scores 25 goals, it's another incredible season. And look, if there is a player who can do it, it's him. But yeah, just for the injuries thing and the fact that he maybe get rotated as Pep gets desperate for a trophy towards the end of the season, if they're going strong in the Champions League or whatever. I think I'd rather be just on the lower side. But you're going to tell me I'm wrong, and I'm probably going to change my mind.
I just think that very similar rationale to the Manchester City scenario, that they struggled last season. He kind of was a bit of a collateral damage to the fact that they struggled. They didn't quite find him as regularly as usually did, or they did in the first sort of season or so. I just expect an uptick from him. And last season, so it wasn't horrendous. 22 goals. He's not got to go far to hit the line to go high here. 3 goals in the Club World Cup. He had a very good international break as well. I think he didn't quite seem fit. That he did miss a few games, but he came back and he didn't still quite seem at it. But I think with Marmoush there, I think he's a great support act to him rather than a replacement for him. And they've brought in lots of creativity. So I just think that the chances will flow a lot better this season. Expect a better season for City. More goals scored, more points on the board, and therefore Haaland's going to be at the front of that. So yeah, more upside than down for me.
Yeah, totally agree. Last season couldn't really gone worse from a Man City perspective, from a Haaland perspective, with his injury as well and being relatively out of form and having a quite big goal drought, and he still nearly got there. As you said, I think Marmoush comes in. I don't think he's going to take too many of his minutes. I still think Haaland will basically play and start when fit. It just gives him another option. And we know that he's the one player where, if I'm right, as those who've watched the point spread show, and I think City might bounce back pretty quickly from what happened last season, surely he'll be the beneficiary. And we know that with him and spread betting, there's probably no real limit to the kind of numbers he can post if things do go his way. So yeah, Erling Haaland, I'm definitely a buyer of.
I'm not sure what's happened overnight, but the line has gone up 1, so it's now 24 to sell.
That's the first time in Harlow history that you've mentioned a live price there.
Yeah, well, it's because I've got it right in front of me. 24 to 26.
Well,
so
thankfully
that's an extra point of profit for me.
No, thankfully we go off the running order that was sent over.
I've sent it round late yesterday.
Yeah, but we do our research off what you send around. You can't move. You can't move the goalposts.
The traders watching. They know.
Right, Matheus Cunha, the new Manchester United signed from Wolves. 9 to sell, 10 to buy. 3, 2, 1.
It is a tough one, isn't it?
Not really.
No?
Well, I just think they're not going to be particularly good. They've signed a player who is, I think, very talented as an individual, but as I say, I like getting against these players who get a big move off the back of one standout season. That's basically what he's done. I don't really think there's any reason to think he'll post those kind of numbers again. I think there's a big upside here where if United are as poor as they were last season, which I think he definitely could be, he might struggle to get anywhere near double figures. So, yeah, I'm basically willing to take on everything Manchester United in every single market. Why do you think Cunha can get into double figs and more?
I did have to pontificate over this one for quite some time, and for the reasons I said in the other show, really, we were talking about that and his performance to XG, etc., etc. 12 and 15 in his last 2 seasons at Wolves, and I just thought, how bad a season is he going to have for Man United this season? I think you think really bad.
Well, he was the main man at Wolves, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was the main man, but I think he's the player that will look to try and prove that he's the main man at Man United and be the one that drives them through and does that. But I also think he's a pretty selfish and greedy player, so I think he's the one that can take chances and want to take chances and will be shooting from outside the box and that. So I think his natural ability will get him close to this line. I think it's a teasing line. I don't think he's going to go and smash it by any stretch of the imagination. I think it's about right. But so it's not one I'd want to be rushing in to actually play. But it's an interesting one. And I say his overachievement, I did mention it, so I'll mention it here, is we're talking his goals. Scored 15 goals from an expected goals of 8.63. So even if he falls down to that, yes, he's gonna fall short. But again, I think he'll get enough opportunities to probably just about creep to the line. But I had to go one way or the other, so I've gone with the fact that there could be upside given his talent.
Dan?
Yeah, I think I've kind of obviously looked at his averages last 2 seasons. He's gone over this line, but also looked quite a lot at United last season. Now, obviously, they weren't prolific at all, and I don't think any player scored more than 6 Premier League goals for United last season, which is very low. It is such a tough one, but they underperformed their XG by 15 goals.
Yeah.
It's the second worst of any team in the Premier League. So I'm using that stat to suggest that Cunha will get chances, and I think he is an improvement in who United had there last season. So maybe he'll at least hit his tally from last season or the season before. So I think I'd have this down as he'll score sort of 12.
They did create a lot, didn't they? They said the underperformance. They did create a lot. Again, this line, I'd wait certainly until they get their number 9 if they end up getting one in, and what type of profile player that is. If he is that kind of greedy goal scoring player, then I'd certainly then change my stance and go against it. If he's more of a link up central striker, then I'd be happier in the position that I've got. So yeah, tough one to call for me at the moment given the window.
3 more players to cover off. Next up, Alexander Isak, the Newcastle striker, looks like he's probably going to be staying at Newcastle, albeit there are links to Liverpool and there are links to Saudi Arabia as well. 19 to sell, 20.5 to buy Isak, who scored 23 last season. Higher or lower? 3, 2, 1. I think like goals.
Yeah, I know. It's starting to feel like I don't.
Okay.
Not from Isak.
Is this because you think he's going to leave?
Well, it is a little bit of that. If he goes to Liverpool, which now is not looking very likely, so I'm probably talking complete rubbish for the first time in my life.
Never.
Then I think, he's not going to score over 20, and the Salah score over 20, and Verts chip in with whatever I've already said.
Must participate in 10 different Premier League games.
Yes.
So if he were to leave to go to Saudi on deadline day.
Yeah,
that's
that's true. I don't think I don't think he's going to Saudi.
Okay.
But then if he does, well, it's avoided for all of us, so it'll be a push.
Yeah.
23 goals last season is obviously higher, and 21 goals the season before is a very small loss for me here. I just question basically whether he can hit the heights that he did last season. He's fantastic for Newcastle, but it's a high bar to hit again, and I don't think the upside is that big here, because I don't think he's doing more than 23, even if he repeats the heroics of the season before. So I think the biggest ceiling or floor is the floor, and I'm going lower.
Amazing terminology.
Does it make sense?
Kind of.
Thanks.
I think he's just one of the best strikers in the world, really coming to his pomp at the moment, and he's the main man for a Newcastle team who are going to play him basically every single minute they possibly can. I think last season is the season that he broke out and proved what he can do, but that definitely wasn't like a standalone kind of purple patch season. I think he'll kick on, and he'd probably be my bet to win top goal scorer this season in the Premier League, because he's just so rock solid and his finishing is so good, and it just feels very, very repeatable, maybe unlike some other players.
Yeah, absolutely. Midpoint was 17 last season, and say he's hit 20 in the last 2. I can't see any reason why he won't do it again. So prolific, so ice cold with his finishing. As you said, certainly one of the best strikers of the Premier League, and definitely you could put an argument forward to say one of the best strikers of his kind in the world. Only Salah scored more than him last season. 54 goals in 86 league games for Newcastle. It's a goal every 121 minutes. It's a phenomenal record, and that's over 2 and a bit seasons. There's no reason to suggest it's going to stop. Summer rest as well, again, like he had last season. Linked with the move to Liverpool. I don't see him going out of the Premier League, and if he goes to Liverpool, I wouldn't have a problem with him leading the line there and not scoring 20 goals either. So wherever he is, Newcastle or Liverpool, I do think he stays at Newcastle, and I think they're one of those sides that they score a lot of goals at home, and your main striker is going to benefit from that. So yeah, for me, definite higher.
Okay, let's 2 more. Chris Wood, one of the stories of last season's Premier League season for Nottingham Forest, scored 20 goals. Can he do it again?
Can he do it again?
Chris Wood, 24-25, an
Go on,
iconic
Woody.
player. Spreadex, don't think so. 12 to sell, 13.5 to buy.
It's a drop off.
3, 2, 1. Yeah, I'm trying to play games.
No, never.
Why can't Woody get to 13?
He can. Certainly the best season of his career last season. Everything he seemed to touch turned to goals last term. 20 goals, 14 the season before. So you can say, that's still good enough. Consistent. He was the guy that split. I've mentioned this 2 or 3 times now. The Mbomo and Cunha overperformance to XG. He was the guy in the middle. He was the second highest overperforming player. 6.65 goals over his expected goals. And also the thing that kind of puts me off this is that he started the season on absolute fire. It's incredible. He's run 18 goals in his first 25 matches, only 2 in his last 11. He had an injury and he came back from that. Not quite the same player. He's 34 this season, and that's an age where, as a striker, especially one who's a kind of a big, powerful striker, will struggle a little bit, I think. So, say 34 in December, and I just think if he makes a sluggish start, that could well see his game time very much limited. They brought in Igor Jesus from Botafogo, who was in the Club World Cup, scored a couple of goals, got the winner against PSG. A very different type of striker, but one that's got a decent goal scoring record, and I think he could well steal a little bit of Woody's thunder. So obviously they've got European football to deal with as well, so I think that element of rotation and which player is going to be best suited to a certain style and a certain game will come in, and therefore I think that's going to see him struggle to hit the numbers certainly that he hit last season. And also with Elanga gone, Morgan is quite likely to follow at the time of recording. There's a lot of creativity that's missing. We don't know how they're going to replace that. I'm sure they will, but with what, we'll have to wait and see. So too many question marks around it for me. I'm happy to go lower.
Dan?
Yeah, sort of similar, really, that I think Forest will be quite substantially worse than they were last season, or at least won't hit the heights that they did last season.
Well,
and as a
being
result,
quite substantial.
That's a good question, isn't it?
Yeah,
we probably
it's substantial, but only a little bit substantial.
Yeah. It's minorly substantial. Yeah. Anyway, contributed 34% of Forest goals in the league last season, which is the joint highest of any player. And naturally, if they score fewer goals, then he's probably going to contribute fewer. I mean, I know this line is a lot fewer than what he scored last season, but yeah, he's getting old. Forest aren't going to be as good.
Okay, I'm a little bit less pessimistic than you guys. I do think the increased fixture congestion because of Europe is going to play a part. They're going to rotate a lot more, as you say, than the new lad coming in. He's going to probably take some of his minutes as well. But he's someone who clearly thrives in this team. It's just a double figure goal haul for Chris Wood in the Premier League is not a bad one, and he could get 10 here and you can still be winning. And there has to be a chance as well that. He's maybe even phased out if he doesn't play particularly well in the new signing beds in. So, I'm not going to sit here and say I think that it's more than likely that Chris Wood scores 14 or more goals again, despite what happened last season. I talk about Isak's goal scoring ceiling sustainable. I think Woods definitely does not feel that way. The final player we're going to cover here is Dominic Solanke, 13 to sell, 14.5 to buy. Tottenham's his main man, but maybe he's not. 3, 2, 1. Whoa!
Yeah, I wasn't sure. I actually wanted to go low, and I changed mine quite late on. Only got 9 goals last season, didn't he? So that was a terrible return, really.
Yep.
And I'm going to leave you to do the arguing why, because I could actually reel off a few stats which are detrimental to me. So I'll move on from that. It was less than half than he scored for Bournemouth in the season that kind of secured that move for him. But injuries hampered him last season, 25 starts in the league, and I think there's a lot of times he was playing when he wasn't quite fit, and also the role that the legendary Ange Postecoglou asked him to play, I think is going to be a bit different to the role that Thomas Frank's going to ask him to play in this. So I think we'll see that. I think the toxic nature of the season didn't really help him. The injuries, not only to him, but also to the players around him. it was a different setup, a different lineup, like week in, week out. So I think we can't say they're not going to have the injuries again, but it'd be disappointing on that part if they had as many as serious as they did have. So I think he will be the focal point under Thomas Frank. He's obviously got a great tune out of the likes of Wissa at Brentford, who's scored a decent amount of goals. I think as a striker, Frank kind of wants that main man to contribute 15 plus goals. And I can see him doing it. He's got the ability to do that, and I think they've also brought in some decent supply line to help him with that. Kudos coming in from West Ham, I think is a nice pickup. They've made that Tell move from a loan to a permanent, so that's good. And obviously we've already mentioned Morgans-White, who looks like to go in there as well. I think that'd be a great asset for them with his ability to pick a pass. So I think the ammunition will be upped. The role will be slightly different, more advanced, more central, go and score some goals. And I think he has the ability to do it. So I've gone with the higher.
I think he's going to be a bit part player.
Okay, that's not very good for me.
Basically, Ivan Toney and Thomas Frank had a great time together, and Toney was brilliant and scored a lot of goals for him. But that's kind of the only proper, burly target man striker that Frank's ever really used. And it feels to me like he's normally happier having players who have basically played wide, and he brings them inside as strikers. Visa being one of them, who normally played off the left and then ended up being a striker. Ollie Watkins, who initially played wide for Exeter and Brentford, then ended up being a striker. I think he likes kind of positional fluidity rather than kind of a rigid. And even with Toney, he's someone that did kind of offer that away from the goals too. And the fact that Tottenham have Son and Richarlison and Brennan Johnson, it feels like there are basically ready-made players who Frank will try and employ as being the striker to enable them to have that kind of fluid front line who are best at attacking in transition and counter-attacking and springing and having pace going forward. And I'm not sure Solanke offers that. So I just worry, even though I really like him, I think that if he does play, and if there is a chance, of course, that Frank does what he did with Toney and he has him as the focal point and has runners coming off him. But I do just worry that he might not feature as much as he would hope. And in which case, he'll probably get to the 10 games needed. And there's a chance, I guess, he might leave in January if he's not playing. But I worry for Solanke this season. That could age terribly. Dan?
Well, I'm on the same side, so does that increase the chance of it aging terribly?
Yes, yeah, I'm afraid so.
Particularly when I don't really have loads of rationale to add. I just don't think, even if he plays as much as you suggest he will, that he'd go way above 15. Purely based on his goal return so far in the seasons he has played in the Premier League. You've got the 19, you've also got a 6 and a 3 and a 9, all of which are quite tidy profit for sellers. So, yeah, I guess averages. I mean, I hadn't actually considered his point that he might not play that many games, so that's a massive bonus.
Add that one in.
So I'm buzzing to be low.
Yeah, well, it's nice that we're against each other.
For once.
That brings this episode to a close. If you enjoyed this, you should go and check out our team point spread in the Premier League video and a Championship preview as well. But in the meantime, make sure you do check out SpreadX and Sporting Index for all of your spread betting needs across all sports. Loads. I cannot emphasise that enough. Loads and loads of markets across the football season ahead of it all kicking off as well. So do check that out. Click in the link in the show description to sign up for an account. There's a new custom offer there as well. Check out oddschecker for your fixed odds betting needs. Who Scored have you covered for all your stats to inform your bets ahead of the season. Thank you to Jack. Thank you for Dan.
Thank you.
We'll be back every week throughout the season to preview the Premier League games over the course of the weekend. So we'll see you then. In the meantime, please ensure that you're gambling responsibly.